Thank you everybody for visiting this late presentation. My name is Pavel Pandregin. I'm from Petersburg, Russia, St. Petersburg. And my presentation is about how we switched from Oracle to Cassandra in our telecommunication area. So let's start. This is what we shall discuss today. Our discussion will be about what architecture we use, how we model SQL and NoSQL data, and a couple of performance issues. So that's it. Let's move on. Let's start from the old school SQL and a couple of words about the CDR. So what is a CDR? Actually, it is a log from the switch from a mobile operator. And each time a person makes a call, this switch generates a record and periodically flashes it to a disk. So, by the way, question in case of TARDIS, shall we receive a CDR or not? Does anybody know? Okay. So, in other words, every time this phone girl connects a person on a commutator, she logs down an entry. This entry contains call party, calling party, started duration, and current information. This is a typical CDR. In case of a mobile operator, we add LAC ID and cell ID. These parameters identify the tower which produced the call. So that's a brief introduction into CDR. And by the way, this information, CDR information, is a valuable source of information for a mobile operator because it contains huge information of behavioral patterns and so on. And it is pretty good to store it and analyze and to receive valuable information from it. So that's because I'm here. We started about 10 years ago to make a hardware-software complex for mobile operators and for marketing purposes. And it was like this. 10 years ago, we didn't know about NoSQL. The only choice was Oracle relational databases. And it was absolutely okay. We had one server which loads CDR data files into data storage. Yeah. Actually, it was IBM, not like this. So, for amount of data, 100 million records per day, it was absolutely okay. It worked perfectly. But time flew and amount of data increased. So we added additional expansion and closures to our system. We added, and finally we found out that we could hardly scale because addition of a new enclosure did not give us increase in speed. So speed limit was in 10,000 records per second, and we couldn't scale. Additionally, this schema gave us problems. For instance, if one device dies, the whole system dies. Yeah? And if we need to upgrade it dramatically, we need to upgrade all this stuff. So we faced these challenges: how to endlessly increase storage capacity, how to increase reliability, how to speed up processing, and additionally we received two bonus challenges: how to add new functionality and of course how to decrease costs. So we turned our heads to new evolved NoSQL trend, which seemed very promising. For us it was Cassandra. And now let's move on to NoSQL part. So sorry. We made this schema, which works perfectly for us. What is written here? These CDR files in unified text format go to data root, which is placed on cluster.fs. Cluster.fs is a distributed, fault-tolerant, and pretty good scalable file system. So after file is there, it is visible for all nodes in our cluster. And on every node, we run our loader, which is based on Cassandra SSTable simple unsorted writer. And these data files pretty good go to Cassandra cluster. Additionally, one of the main purposes of our system is to query data, of course. So on every node we run search engine, which is available via Apache Fleet communication protocol. So this architecture solves almost every our problem. We can easily scale, and the addition of each node gives us increase in speed in 5,000 records per second. Since we use replication factor of 2, depth of one node is absolutely not critical, it's absolutely okay. And if we talk about price, I think if we compare Oracle price and Cassandra, I think it's obvious for everybody that Cassandra is better. That's it. So a few words about how we modeled CDR data in SQL to get started. In the SQL world, we had a big event table, which was partitioned by started, and we indexed each interesting column, number, or IMSI or IME. And the typical query was like this: give me all calls of this number during the last day. Yeah. So we needed to transform it into NoSQL, and it is written here. It is the same information, but depicted in other way. So we break loading into two stages. First, we load the whole row into big column family, and so ID is a long distributed key based on Twitter conflake, and the value is the whole row. After it, we index all the interesting fields. In our case, it is number. Yeah? So this column family is partitioned. The partition period is tunable. So you can see it's partitioned by month. So row key is a number. Column contains composite and support info. Support info is a little bit, it's a little trick, because in this field we can write additional information, and during search we do not need to query this personal first table. We can use information just from it. It speeds up querying. And let's see a small example. Okay, switch produces new record. We put it into this row column family. Then we index it. We put for number 1, we put column name, which is timestamp plus ID, and column value. Additionally, at that same moment, we index the second number from this call for future calls. It's also very important. So like this. So we have just indexed this information. So let's move on. It's a small information how to query data. We use Hector for querying. So a small Java example. Let me say a few words. So let's define column family. Set a row key. We query by number. we set time period, and okay, let's get the result. And after it, we can do everything we want. We can use support information if we need, or we can query this previous big raw count family. It all depends on us. So now, the part which for us was very challenging, I can say, challenging. Oracle provides out of the box indexing, full text search. So they have context indexes and so on. And in Cassandra, out of the box, we do not have this functionality. So if we want to query to produce queries like that, and num like or contain something or something, I think it's impossible to do. So we used DataStax Enterprise solution. They added Solr to Cassandra, and we solved this problem. So for these queries, we have additional count family which has a Solr secondary index. So if we query numbers like this, we query this count family, we receive a list, and we give this list to plain count family. And in case of exact match query, we just query this plain count family. This count family is it? Yeah. But it caused another problem. How to index fast? We tried to just insert using Hector or SS tables or whatever into Solr count family, but it dramatically slowed down loading. So we made a small trade-off. Actually, we do not need real-time indexing. So we query Solr count family and we write to plain count family without index. And periodically we synchronize these two tables and move on. So pretty simple. So now one more example of data modeling. It's used for estimation of tower loading, for instance. So again, for detailed information, we use raw column family, and for our main query, we use so-called index column family. In this case, it is called call slug cell plus partition data, and row key is timestamp truncated to minute. We do it to shorten the row, because if the row is extremely wide, because for instance, during a second, base station can produce a lot of records, and all base station can produce much more records. So we do it to shorten. But that's the main purpose. So we query using date, and because of composite, we can use query. We can query using the lag plus cell ID, or using just lag. It's okay. And after it, we also can do whatever we want. And here is the Java code. Yeah. So let's move on. I've talked about problem of adding new functionality, and new requirement to our complex was to add very fashionable now graph data modeling for subscriber churn prediction and so on. So it's obvious that the call record is itself an edge in the graph, and subscribers are vertices of an edge. And the points in our case is that all the edges are weighted. Weight is the number of calls. Our graph is directed. It's important for us. And also, every edge has a type, which is voice or SMS or whatever. And I have to underline that our system doesn't reproduce any Nova.js or whatever, like it just stores information, and our outside subsystem queries this data, it analyzes it, it uses finds between similarity and so on, and pictures it like this. So we just store information, and we do it in this way. I have to notice that during data modeling in every area, it's very important to know how it works physically. In our case, we noticed that each call is divided in two parts. It can be divided in two parts, on one switch and on another switch. And we needed to take it into consideration because we need to use weights of edges. So we do it like this. For instance, we receive the first record from the switch, it's like that. And we put it down like this, where we use counters. Yeah? And later we receive another record from another switch, and we need to put it down also. We do it like this. For the same row key, we add another column, but in the last column we write down that subscriber is B and the first A. So since we use counters, when we query this data and summarize it and use it in our graph analysis, we choose the maximum of these counters and use it in our future algorithm. So that's about how we model graph data. So in Cassandra, is, as you see, is pretty flexible for our purposes. So this is a small summary with figures. Yeah? First, I have to underline that the total cost of hardware for Oracle complex is approximately equal to cost of hardware of Cassandra complex. And second, that for Oracle we use expensive SAS 15,000 RPMs per second disks, and for Cassandra we use cheaper SATA disks. So the speed is, as you see, for Oracle 600 million per database, and it is hardly scalable. And for Cassandra 300 million per node and can easily be scaled. Such query speed of a query is also pretty good. On Oracle it's very painful. All SQL plans and so on. I don't want to speak about it. And in Cassandra, as you see, it's pretty fast because Cassandra is query oriented. So that's it about my report. This is what we discussed today. As you can see, migration from Oracle to Cassandra can be not painful and even fun. So, okay, that's it. In case of questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
One question. You mentioned at the very beginning that you have been using like some distributed file system. Didn't you get like higher latencies with this solution?
Okay, maybe my colleague can answer my technical. The question is, do we have latencies in generating Twitter conflict? Yeah?
Latency, 2 millisecond you can see as in GitHub, Snowflake, and this solution
So not more than 2 milliseconds,
2 milliseconds.
and it's okay.
Okay.
Are you running Solr and Cassandra nodes are Cassandra and Solo, are they running on the same node or are they deployed as separate data centers?
No, we use on every node we run a Solo.
So on each
One
Cassandra
data
node is a Solo node as well
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
case. Okay. So I'm assuming you're using initial tokens and no vNodes in that case.
We do not use initial. We use virtual nodes.
But then the recommendation is if you're deploying Solr on Cassandra, the same nodes, you need to save the vNodes because you'll get a performance overhead in that case.
Okay. I shall take it into consideration.
Sorry, one more. 300 million writes per node, is that the statistics that was up on the slide? Is that per day? Is that the total number of writes per node or?
It's 300 million per node per day.
Per day?
Daily.
Per day, okay.
Daily. Because
When you mean write, is the whole record right or just partial? It's the whole record.
it's whole record plus indexes.
Yeah.
We use about 7 indexes. And additionally, we use some extra information for technical needs. So that's it.
Are you using DataStax Enterprise, or did you
Yeah,
build it? Okay.
and DataStax Enterprise last version.
Is the graphing system, you talk about the graphing system, is that your own or which graphing system are you using?
It's not our own, but actually we are in progress. We do not came to any conclusion, but anyway, it will be not our solution.
Cassandra version A you're using.
Cassandra version, which is in DataStax, the DSE last.
But it's the version 2, I think, if I'm mistaken.
Cassandra.
1.2?
Cassandra 2.1.
2.0, I think. 2.0. I can tell you, I just don't remember.
How do you cater for new requirements for old of the indexing of your old data?
Could you please repeat?
If next week
Mm-hmm.
your business requires new reports from last year's data, how do you query? Do you go back and build new queries, or do you do it all through Solr?
I understand. Actually, our business case does not need to do it. So in this case, we just say to customer, okay, we add new functionality and live new life.
It starts today.
Yeah. I have to underline, it's not a billing system. So we have some, we are not in a narrow frame.
Yeah.
We are a little bit free here than billing guys.
So it's not used for billing?
No, it's not for billing, so
Right.
no, it doesn't count money.
Right.
It's for analytics, for customer prediction systems, and it can be seen as a core for future analytics, for Hadoop, Hive.
So you can't use Hadoop and Hive on your current deployment?
No,
You're not? It's only
No.
Solr now? Okay.
it's only Apache Cassandra and so on.
Okay. One last question perhaps. Have you had any failures, memory failures, node failures, and how do you deal with that?
How do we do it with the failures?
Have you had any failures
Ah,
on your cluster?
it's easy because the point is that as it's not a billing system. In case of a huge total disaster, data center is exploded, we can requery CDRs from the switch and load it again. And actually, we can store as many rows as operator gives to us. But interesting, usually operator is interested in only half a year or maybe even more, even 3 months. So we can liquidate you this 3 months and quickly load it again.
So you completely, what you're saying after 3 months you drop data?
No, it all depends on the customer. If he says, okay, I can pay for it, okay, you can store it.
So you don't have to retain data for a specific period of time.
Please, one again.
So do you need to keep your data
Forever.
for a specific period of time? Because you can use the TTL in Cassandra so that it auto-purges the data for you. Do you have that requirement in your environment?
Yeah. Actually, we are now not in production, we are in progress.
Oh, okay.
So we are playing with the TTL, we have to estimate how fast it is. We have a mechanism, we partition tables. So for this month is one count memory. And if you want to delete this data into free up space, we just drop this count memory. And
That's how you do it, okay.
yeah. Or maybe if TTLs will show themselves good, we will use it. But now we are in progress.
Okay.
Do you think you'd ever use Cassandra for billing in the future?
Oh, it's a very difficult question because our company is very wide, and my department does not is not responsible for billing. So other people, maybe if they see that it is good and it works, they will switch. But I cannot answer. It's my own opinion. It's not position of the service.
Thank you.